This little video will give you an introduction to meter. Now, meter is a repeated pattern of strong and weak stresses. And it's important to note that it's a pattern and that it's repeated. So if you remember back to your childhood, remember Dr. Seuss poems, most of those are in a very strong meter. That Sam I am, that Sam I am, I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? Da 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 da. You can hear that pattern. Because it's a pattern, because it's repeated, it's in meter. Now if you have a look, here, that Sam I am, you can see that the pattern looks like that. Weak, strong, that Sam I am, that Sam I am. So that's in meter. Now when we're talking about Shakespeare's meter, we're talking about normally one kind, and that is Iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter refers to two things. That first word, iambic, identifies the kind of unit or pattern that you're going to follow. So it's an iamb, that's the kind of foot, and an iamb is a weak stress followed by a strong stress. You notice that sort of smiley face is usually how a weak stress is going to be identified, whereas that stronger slash is for a strong stress. So that's weak, strong. That's an iamb. So that's the kind of foot. In iambic pentameter, the pentameter refers to the number of times that foot appears in the line. Penta means 5. Tetra means 4, so tetrameter is 4 feet. Tri means 3, so trimeter is 3 feet. But pentameter means that there are 5 feet in the line. So iambic pentameter essentially means that there are 5 iambs in the line. This is what it looks like. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong. So that's what a line of perfect iambic pentameter would sound like. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Okay, say that a few times to yourself and you'll have it in your head. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Think of it a different way. It's a line with 10 syllables and 5 strong stresses. Now the particular kind of verse that Shakespeare usually writes in his plays is called blank verse. And blank verse is simply iambic pentameter that has no rhyme. That's true that sometimes Shakespeare rhymes. He does have rhymed couplets sometimes at the end of scenes, for example. But most of the speeches that are in verse in Shakespeare are in unrhymed iambic pentameter or in blank verse. Now it's important to make a distinction between blank verse and free verse. Now, free verse is what a lot of 20th and 21st century poetry is written in. Free verse has neither rhyme nor meter. Okay, so that's not the same as blank verse. Blank verse is unrhymed, but it does have meter, so it's unrhymed iambic pentameter. So to recap, when we're talking about Shakespeare's meter, we're talking about iambic pentameter, which means that the foot, the iamb, unstressed, stressed, is repeated 5 times. So it looks like this. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. And that's blank verse.